Hello friends, welcome to Infinity. Do you ever notice the red eye of Jupiter? Do you know what it is? If the answer is yes, thumbs up. But if you don't know what it is, then watch the full video and don't forget to subscribe the channel. The giant red spot is simply a storm which has been existing on Jupiter over centuries. This storm is so massive that the whole Earth can emerge into it. The diameter of this storm is 1.3 times greater in comparison to that of Earth. Now reports go back to 1989 when NASA's Voyager 2 satellite reached to the last planet of our solar system, Neptune, and became the first man-made object to reach to the so far distance. Before this, humans know the existence of Neptune, but scientists hadn't any detailed information about that planet. So while analyzing the planet, Voyager 2 noticed a giant black spot on the surface of the beautiful blue planet. Actually, it was nothing but a massive storm. The length of the storm was 13,000 kilometers and the width of the storm was 6,000 kilometers. But after 5 years, when Neptune was observed by Hubble Space Telescope, the storm was vanished. But in comparison to that, the storm on Jupiter is existing for more than 355 years. It was first seen before 355 years ago. That means it was created before our observation. But why this storm is going on so long? So to know that, we have to know how clouds and storms are formed on our planet and what is the difference between the formation of clouds on Earth and Jupiter. On Earth, the storms are formed on water bodies like ocean, sea, etc. The water bodies soak sunlight and transfer into vapor. Now the vapor is lighter than air, so it goes up. This vapor creates clouds, and clouds help to increase the temperature of the region. And on certain conditions, the hot air of the region travels upward and cold air comes down. Now Earth is rotating on its axis, so air from high pressure area comes to the low pressure zone and creates a cyclone. It starts to spin around its axis and move forward. But the giant red spot on Jupiter is an anticyclone. Now the basic difference between cyclone and anticyclone is that cyclones are created in the low pressure areas, but anticyclones are formed in high pressure region. As you all know that there is no land on Jupiter and it's a gas giant, so different layers on the planet can move to different directions. To both sides of red spot, two opposite jet streams are traveling to different directions, and from these jet streams the giant red spot gets its energy to rotate, but it doesn't help it to move forward. It is rotating around its axis, remaining still. The storm on Earth get their energy from sunlight on normal condition, which is 30 to 35 degrees centigrade. But the storms on Jupiter get their energy from its core, which is 50,000 degrees Fahrenheit or 27,700 degrees centigrade. That means they are very strong. Moreover, a special character on Earth is that there are lands on our planet. So when the storms reach to the land, they start to lose their energy and vanish after some time. But there is no land on Jupiter. So these storms get long lives and they exist for centuries. In 1996, a super cyclone Olivia hits the coasts of Australia, which is the most severe cyclone ever recorded in the history of the Earth. During this, the wind speed was 408 km per hour. But the speed of the giant red storm is 680 km per hour. So from this, you can imagine how dangerous this giant red storm is. Now a question can come to your mind: why the black spot on Neptune is not so severe, or why it ends up so early? So for your kind information, the black spot on Neptune was more severe than the giant red spot. Its average speed was 2000 km per hour, but on Neptune there is no jet stream, so the storm was moving forward and lost its energy, and after 5 years it ends up. At last, there is a very famous question. Many people ask, is the giant red spot is getting smaller in size? And the answer is yes. At the end of 19th century, it was observed that the giant red spot was 40,000 km in length and 14,000 km in width. That means that time two Earth-like planets could emerge into it. But in 1989, when Voyager 2 reached there, it found that the giant red spot remains half of its former size. Every year, it is shrinked by 1000 km area, and if it continues in future, then at the end of 2030 or 2040 it will totally vanish. Now if you ask me the reason of it, I don't know. Scientists are trying to know it. there might be some unusual phenomena in the atmosphere of Jupiter, which is the cause behind it. So today, if you have learned something new and different, give a like